It's all perspective. Yeah, it is all perspective. I understand that. Yeah.
There's no more tears.
It's recording on this live stream.
I'm really not very much on
They
these
post it.
things. But I'm told that try to figure out why. I have people living beside me on both sides.
She's the
And they're
she's the youth representative. Oh really? I didn't know her.
and one of them is has the same
Julian, I got away from a friendly.
It's also because he knew my mind.
Today as it was called by.
You saw him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty regularly down here. Yeah.
Oh, I've been calling her.
Yeah.
I clarified that's
And they have great parties. And his daughter sings his bass guitar. It's just
Absolutely.
he uses his bass guitar, and we had a big party at his place. You can see the whole. Can you? Shoot.
Youth representative.
So she sits there.
Yeah, I think so. It's a great idea.
You see my mom there?
Yeah, it says Melissa. Camel cruising in there.
They have just what a great big family.
I'm calling to order this regular meeting of Town of Gibsons Council for September the 10th, 2024. And we're honored to gather here. So we're starting the meeting at 3:31 p.m. and we're honored to gather here on the traditional territories of the Skokomish Nation. First, we need to approve the agenda. Moved by Councillor Kroll, seconded by Councillor DeAndrade. All those in favor? That motion carries. And we have some minutes to adopt from July 23rd, 2024. Moved by Councillor DeAndrade, seconded by Councillor Lumley. All those in favor to adopt the minutes? The motion carries. And then we're moving on to some correspondence. We've got the correspondence up front, including some correspondence related to the permissive tax exemptions. So we wanted to put them up front just to make sure that that council has those to discuss and consider as we consider that bylaw coming up. And We also have, the first one is a piece of correspondence from the Lower Mainland Local Government Association, and there's a recommendation associated to that about our pursuit of membership in that association. So just moved by Councillor DeAndrade to put forward that recommendation, and seconded by Councillor Kroll. Any discussion on that recommendation? All those in favor? The motion carries. And that's something we've been working on for several months. And then we have items of correspondence from some of the applicants for permissive tax exemptions. And I think we're probably just taking those under consideration for the bylaw, which is coming up, unless anyone has anything they'd like to discuss on those right now. Okay, seeing none, then we'll move to the bylaws, and the first bylaw, 5.1, which is pages 25 and 27 of the agenda, is the permissive property tax exemptions bylaw, which is really something we've been discussing for 2 years in many ways. And we had a committee meeting in July, late July, discussing, kind of informing where this bylaw was going. And I'll look to council to discuss further. Or move, Councillor Kroll. I just wanted also, I'll preface the dialogue too with at least one of the letters from the curling club. Actually felt that some of the rationale we used at our July meeting might have been incorrect. So I don't know if that changes considerations of that one. So for people, but that's just something we might want to address. Councillor Kroll.
Thank you, Mayor White. As a council, I think we've all been faced with difficult decisions, and this is certainly one of them. I believe it was when this issue came up, not in the past year, but the year before, we indicated that we needed to look at permissive tax credits, particularly in light of the community need for housing. And Kelly Foley with the Cover the Coast has done a social needs housing report. Staff have been working with Kelly to come up with potential land for housing. So when we addressed this, rather than renewing the permissive tax credits for 4 years, we opted to renew them for 1 year and advised people that had potentially developable land that we would be assessing these permissive tax credits. I would like to mention that Kelly Foley has subsequently, through the funding that comes from tourism with the residential guest accommodation, or STR funding, has got a funding stream to work with registered nonprofits and churches to potentially come up with solutions to help the community meet housing needs. We have people in this community living in cars, which is not a situation that I think any of us can be proud of. We still have a number of people that are completely homeless. And, we have some projects that have come online that are, quotation marks, affordable housing, but still that is challenging. Like, in a lot of cases, to qualify for this housing, you need, incomes in excess of $50,000, more likely $85,000 to even qualify to be able to pay the rents. So we need to come up with better solutions. BC Builds, Lisa Helps, who's the Premier's advisor on housing. There's a workshop for Legions, for churches, for nonprofit registered charities to work with the resources available to provide housing for the communities. In once the letter went out last fall, and there was a previous letter before that, until the present and our committee of the whole meeting last week, there was virtually no response from anyone. Now, I know there are members sitting in the room today who've been trying to work with the Gibsons Legion to get them moving. The Christian Life Assembly, I know Jazz has been working with the Legion, trying to get them off the ground and getting them working with housing. But, you know, the response from the community members who have potentially developable land until today has been very quiet. And I think as a community, it's, you know, I've lived here for 45 years. And quite frankly, it breaks my heart to know there are people in this community living in cars, living in tents in the woods, when there's raw land that could provide housing. And I think there is a need as a community to meet this need. You know, we need to look after one another. If we don't, nobody else will. And I think, you know, there's a unique opportunity with this workshop on the 25th in Vancouver, which you're all welcome to attend. I would certainly encourage your church leaders or your board members to attend it. It's an open conference. BC Builds, Kelly Foley with Cover the Coast is going to be, she's got funding to work with groups that have land to consider redeveloping for housing. And I would just encourage everyone to take this opportunity to serve our community. I realize that a lot of you are already doing great things in the community, but we need to put roofs over people's heads. Thank you.
Thanks, and I'll just remind council to speak through the chair, too. Councillor D'Andrade's next.
Thank you, Chair. Well said, so I'm not going to repeat. I just want to emphasize that when we exempt some institution from taxes, the taxpayers are paying these taxes. And yeah, we have wealthy individuals in this town, but there's a lot of seniors that they're struggling to pay their taxes as well. And many people are struggling with the changes, you know, since COVID, increased cost of living and so on. So it is really important. I mean, when we have to go through this decision, it's not, like Councillor Crowe, it's not an easy decision. We have been talking about this for a long time, but this all has to be balanced off. We also have high policing costs moving forward. When we reach 5,000 people, our taxes are gonna go higher. And also there's cost of maintaining the town infrastructure, which is it's getting higher as well. So that's one of the reasons that we have to start looking at that. So it's really the community have to get together. And so if there's land available and or programs that churches can do that not only address a certain group of individuals, but it's the main needs of the town, we need everybody to come together. So please don't take this as some harsh decision that we're doing just because this was really well thought out, but we all dealing with tax increases. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor D'Andrade. See, any other councillors want to speak to this or move it, or you have notes on something? Councillor Thompson? Okay. So it's moved. Is there a seconder to moving the bylaw? Seconded by Councillor Lumley. And we can further discuss it at this point. Councillor Thompson?
I just wanted to say thanks to my fellow councillors for communicating that so well. We've seen discussions around property tax exemptions in communities throughout BC, and it's something none of us have taken lightly. Our community is facing similar challenges with rising costs within our municipalities, and these exemptions are a huge consideration in how we can consider that for the town of Gibsons and our rising costs and tax considerations. So I just wanted to say it's not something that we came to lightly. It's been 2-year discussion, so moving that.
Councillor Lumley? Thank you.
I'm going to follow up on that through the mayor that I thought it was through our discussions in council, I think we came up with some super fair and really solutions. And even if I understand nobody wants to pay more tax, nobody wants to hire bills, nobody likes having to dole out more money, but I mean, the one aspect, you think, well, somebody flushes a toilet or is part of the town. There's somebody up at the waste treatment plant working to accommodate all these services. So it's a really small part, but and I know the mayor, when we were at the LGLMA in Harrison Hot Springs, there was a motion on the floor for all the municipalities for the lower mainland to actually abolish, to ask the province to abolish any exemption, like statutory exemptions. So, and it was quite a feverish discussion. It was debated, and so for the motion, it almost got to the province. It was so close. It was like 51-49 or something. But just the fact that, just for information purposes only, I guess, just the fact that it was that close, the fact that like 50% of the people that are managing or counselors in communities all across the Lower Mainland, 49% of those people thought it was a good idea to abolish all of it. Obviously, that's not what we think, and obviously through this. It's clearly that we still appreciate and want to help as much as we can, but that's all I want to say. There's the other side to just giving the tax. There's a side that through our discussions with the mayor and council that we were really cognizant on trying to be as fair as we could with everybody. So,
Councillor Kroll?
Thank you, Mayor White, and through you. Just one last comment. I did share with our finance department the information to the programs that Kelly Foley has available and the conference that's being held in Vancouver on the 24th. So that information I've requested be sent out to the pertinent people that would be responsible for making decisions for the various groups. It's also interesting to note there's a United Church in Chilliwack. They're totally redeveloping their property. They're demolishing the church, building a new church within a residential complex. So there's some interesting possibilities out there to meet the increasing community need for housing. Thank you.
I think, councillors, thank you all for your input into this. It was all very well considered, and I don't have a lot to add myself. We have discussed this many times, so I'm just trying to think of like some of the other parts of our conversations to relate here. I think councillors, you've covered it in our public meetings where we've been discussing this for the last 2 years. I just want to further emphasize Councillor Lumley's comments, especially about trying to be as fair as we can, and looking at fairness as Councillor DeAndrade raised too, for the entire community, because everyone, I think, many people who are members of these nonprofits and churches, even as individual property owners, that's even fairness for everyone who's as individuals and businesses who own property who are having to cover for the exemptions. So that I see as being the really important consideration. Something's echoing back there. Is that?
You haven't got the speakers on out here, so nobody can hear,
Yeah.
so they're playing back the commentary.
Okay. Are there speakers back there that we can turn
The
on?
speakers up here on the wall that were placed.
We can't hear anything out here, it's
Yeah. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean, this is our capacity in here. So I'm sorry about that. We'll have to raise taxes more in order to build a larger municipal hall, unfortunately. So and we're not planning. Yeah, we can't do that soon because we're very, very. There's a lot of other big ticket items, especially to do with water and sewer, that we're having to tackle as a town. So those are those were some considerations. And I also want to emphasize we've received a few items of correspondence just in the last couple of days that I'm unfortunately I haven't had a chance to respond to on behalf of council. We've talked about them a bit, but I think there's possibly a misconception out there that this applies to the entire tax exemption. There is as previously mentioned, there is a statutory tax exemption for churches, which as Councillor Lumley mentioned, there are some municipalities in BC who want to advocate for that to be taken away. We're not supporting that. We're not proposing that. We are only we don't support taking away the statutory exemption in this bylaw. What we are doing is looking at the permissive exemption of other land that might be owned by nonprofits or churches, including land around around the place of worship. And to that, the kind of the standard approach that we've taken for churches in particular is to drop that exemption by 25%. So there's still 75% of that property is being exempted. So I just wanted to make that explanation because that does seem to be confused in some of the correspondence we're getting. So on behalf of council, I wanted to explain that. And Councillor DeAndrade has one last word here before we vote.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to invite the public to participate in budgeting. And also, please go to the website and understand the plans that we have. We just have a master plan for stormwater infrastructure and sewage, right? And the costs are huge. So the town has had a good reputation of maintaining our infrastructure as best as we can with the funding that we get. But infrastructure is getting older and there are costs. So please participate, and then it gives a better understanding also why we have to come to these decisions. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor DeAndrade. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion? The motion carries. And that's the three readings. This is the wrong agenda of that bylaw, and then adoption will come to a further meeting. And now we are looking at item 5.2, which is a zoning amendment and form and character development permit for mixed-use commercial residential development for 1057 Gibsons Way. And the recommendations are not on our front page of the agenda. They're on pages 11 to 12. I'm just flipping to that here. Oh. Or 11 to 12, if I don't know. I'm looking at. Okay. Yeah. 31? 41, okay. Okay, there we go. So this is regarding 1057 Gibsons Way. At our last meeting, we talked about first reading for this. We did pass first reading for this and gave the developer who was present some of the input that we had for a council. And this has come back to us today, and it has Yeah, there is space inside now for people who are dwelling back there and can't hear. There's a lot of space here. And yeah, there's some further information that we requested, most prominently traffic studies are all here this time. So that was something that council wanted to have. Councillor Lumley?
Move option 1.
Okay, we've got option 1, which is second and third readings, an authorized development permit subject to adoption of the zoning amendment, and that's seconded by Councillor Gandrati. Any discussion? We had a lot last meeting, which has led to this, so all those in favor? The motion carries. Thanks for joining us. No questions this time. Yeah, we covered all that last time. So that also will come up for adoption at our next opportunity. And moving on to the housing agreement bylaw for 718 North Road. That is on pages 65 to 83. And there is a recommendation here that be given first, second, and third readings. I see Councillor Kroll. Are you moving that? Yeah, that's moved by Councillor Kroll, seconded by Councillor Thompson. So this one is before us. So a comment or question from Councillor D'Andrade.
I just want to make a comment and praise staff. I was quite impressed with this agreement. It was quite in-depth, complete. It covered all bases. I cannot imagine more bases. I think it was really good. So I'm really proud because obviously you don't want any consequence from an agreement that in the future it could whether hurt the town or not respond to any situation. So I was quite impressed. So congratulations to whoever was involved in this. It was really good.
Thanks for that comment, Councillor Andrade. Any other discussion or questions on this? All those in favor? That motion carries for the housing agreement at 718 North Road. And committee reports. Just mention there that the recommendations of the permissive tax exemptions were already adopted in July 23rd. So that informed today. And the minutes are there just for information. And then we have the OCP Communications and Engagement Strategy, which was at that Committee of the Whole meeting that was presented to us. And the recommendation at that meeting was that staff be directed to proceed with the consultation as outlined in that presentation by McElhaney. So we need to move that. Moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Kroll. All those in favor? All those opposed? That motion, okay. That motion carries. And then there is a administration report by our natural asset technician regarding the Community Climate Action Plan. This, I can speak as our representative at the regional district. There was a special meeting. That plan actually took place. It first came to the regional district over a year ago, and the board really felt that a lot more attention needed to be. We needed to work on our strategic plan first, and it needed to be informed a bit more by the strategic plan, and there needed to be a lot of. It couldn't just be one item on a long meeting agenda. So we ended up dedicating an entire meeting to it recently, and there was a lot of discussion on that, and a lot of public showed up. A lot of public interest, and there ended up being strong support for that plan. So that's a little bit of context that I can provide. And now it's here before council, and our staff has considered it very closely as well, and has a report based on that. I don't know if, Michelle's here for any questions. Michelle's written the report, and there's some clear recommendations in that report. So I'll see if there's any questions. Councillor D'Andrade.
Thank you. I don't have a question. I would like to move the recommendations because it really supports Gibsons' water strategy and overall water sustainability on the coast. So I think the town is well position to support that, and I'm really happy that there's interest in collaborating with the SRD.
And there's some specific points there too that we've got in the report that we want to key in on, I think, in our feedback. So would that letter probably be coming out from, is that something that would be a letter drafted from mayor and council or from staff, or, so that's, oh, okay, so that'll be the step for this recommendation, is we'll be sending a letter. Any other discussion on the motion, Councillor Kroll?
Thank you, Mayor White, and I certainly appreciate the direction that this is going. At one of our previous meetings, we introduced our film bylaw, and, we're trying so hard to move forward, protect the environment, and one thing and another. And I know I brought it up at the time we brought up, passed our film bylaw, that we need to put in greater emphasis on green film production on the Sunshine Coast. Tourism have just put out a big blurb and promotion on Come to the Sunshine Coast and Film, which is great. It supports the economy in many ways, but with 71 tons of carbon per hour of television and film production, it sort of negates a lot of what we're trying to do. So I would emphasize that we put a little stronger dialogue and extend to the other regions and municipalities on the coast that we need to think green when we're considering film.
Okay. And even, yeah, just closer, that's as a follow-up conversation or question too, is when do we expect to see our own, we have something, I think it's even on our agendas coming up, but we've got some of our own climate action planning is coming up, I think, in a.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we have the corporate climate action plan will be coming to the next committee meeting. So that's the draft plan for council's consideration. And then we've applied for a grant to do the community climate action plan, which would be the one where we would be aligning with targets with the SRD.
It'd be aligning to this, yeah, okay. Thank you. Any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor? The motion carries. And now we have our age-friendly communities grant application. I can provide some background on this. This is also a long time struggle in that we've been mandated, all organizations and municipalities have been mandated by the province to produce an accessibility plan. But unlike the poverty reduction plan or childcare plans, they did not accompany that with any funding programs, any granting programs. So the closest we could come is age-friendly communities funding, which we've had before as a town, and a program before and a plan. They will support having an age-friendly lens on an accessibility plan. So what staff worked on, largely staff, and thank you to Councillor Kroll for your help reviewing the application as well, is an application to kind of assist in that accessibility planning, which was made by late August. So now we need we can submit the formal resolution after that, which we're doing here, is the proposal. So I'm looking, moved by Councillor DeAndrade, seconded by Councillor Kroll. Any discussion on this? All those in favor? The motion carries. And so under council reports, just in my liaison roles with Harbour Authority and Ferry Advisory Committee, I used some of my summer to kind of collect a lot of the relevant information I'd received from those two bodies to share with council there for information. So that's just why those are on the agenda. Yeah, they've been over a long period of time, so I hope council. And then we've got the motion to close, go in camera. Councillor Kroll, did you have any pieces on Ferry Advisory Committee or the GLHA? On, okay, can we do it next meeting? Is it just, is there? Yeah, it's not for the, no, he's saying it's not for the Ferry Advisory Committee, so. Okay, well, we should have put it on the, we should have put it in, we should have changed the agenda at the beginning to do that. Is that okay? Okay. Our motion to close under 91A, 1C, 1E, 1I, 1J, 1K, and 1M of the Community Charter. And all those items are listed on the front, on the agenda. Is there a moved by Councillor Andrade, seconded by Councillor Thompson? All those in favor? The motion carries.